So we're going to talk about this new form today, but first let's review. Slope-intercept form looks like y equals mx plus b. Remember, the name tells you what you need, right? A slope, which is an m, and an intercept is a b. So you can also look at the formula chart. Standard form. This is a new form. We've seen a little bit of it. ax plus by equals c. Now, there's some extra letters there. Don't freak out about that. We're going to put a little star here. A, B, and C are just positive or negative whole numbers. They're just regular numbers. Okay? I want you to also notice that X and Y are on the same side. That's going to be important. And we're going to put a little star here, and we're going to say no fractions or decimals, okay? Because A, B, and C are just regular numbers, no fractions or decimals. Now, there's two different ways we can do this. I'm going to show you both methods, and you decide which method you like best, okay? So we're actually going to start with method 2 because we've done this one, all right? Put into slope-intercept, so we're going to change this to y equals mx plus b so that we can figure out m, all right? So when we did this before, we said, this is in our bubble notes from Unit 1, we said move x and divide by the y on everything. Do you remember us talking about those steps way back in the day? I feel like it was forever ago. So let's do that. How am I going to move, because I want this y by itself, how am I going to move my x? We're going to subtract it. Do I need to take the x with me when I subtract that 6? Yes, we're going to move that whole thing. Can I put an x, a 6x, negative 6x, with a regular number 15? No. So I'm just going to write negative 6x. It's a positive 15. Be careful here. What am I bringing down? What's left with the y? Yes, the negative 3y. So sometime when we did this the first go around, sometimes we forgot that negative. It's a very important piece. And then, so we've done step 1. Step 2 says divide by the number in front of y. What's the number in front of y? Be careful. Negative 3. Good. And we're going to divide that on everything. Please be very, very careful with your signs. So y equals, what's negative 6 divided by negative 3? Positive 2. And positive 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. Okay, so now we've changed it to slope-intercept. So now let's actually answer the question being asked. The question says identify m. So which of those numbers, we have a 2 and a negative 5, which one of those is our m? What does m stand for? Slope. Which one of those is our slope? The 2. So here's a second way. Notice I tell you m equals negative a over b. What does m represent? Okay, slope. Now, remember way back we talked about negatives. The negative can be in the middle, but if you wanted to rewrite it with the negative in the top, you could. Okay? Because that's the same thing as long as one of them are negative. So look at this. Is the same equation. Remember, a is in front of x, b is in front of y, c is always by itself. So if we're going to say negative a, well, what's my a value? 6, and I need to make it negative. What if it was already negative? What would happen? It'd become a positive, right? Saying essentially the opposite of a. What's the b? 3. Negative 3. Make sure you take the sign with it. Tell me what you know about negative 6 over negative 3. Negative 6 over negative 3 is a positive 2 or 2 over 1. So it was the same exact question. We got the same exact answer. We just did it 2 different ways. So let's explain what happened. On method 2, we moved that positive 6, and when we moved the positive 6, what did it become? It became negative. Oh, look, our 6 was negative over here. And then we divided by our b. Oh, look, we divided by the b. Do you see how this is exactly the same as this? Here's the thing. We're doing the same thing, okay? The only difference is with method 1, you're going to have to memorize it. You're going to have to memorize negative a over b. And if you feel comfortable doing that, by all means, do that. But if you're like, you know what, I don't really trust my memory for that, and you would rather do method 2 because we've done that multiple weeks, then do method 2. Okay, you're going to get to the same place no matter what. Let's elaborate a little bit on that. And we're going to do a little bit more practice. And I'll show you both methods and you decide which way you like. So we need to find the slope. What is slope? What letter? M. What's the y-intercept? It is b. Now I want you to realize on the y-intercept, I want you to write 0, b. So the y-intercept is where we cross the y-axis, so the x is 0. And now I have a new word for you. 0. 0 is the x-intercept. So that is where we have an x number and our y is 0 because it's on the x-axis. So if I was to draw a little picture here, my x-intercept, let's say this is, I don't know, make up a number, 4, 0. So we have an x number when y is 0 versus if I have a y-intercept, this is 0, 2. So my x is 0 and my y is a number. So whatever intercept you're looking for, if you're looking for the y-intercept, you're looking for the number for y. If you're looking for the x-intercept, you're looking for the number for x. And you will also hear x-intercept called a 0. So let's come over here. We have a new one. Do you want to find the slope with method 1 or method 2? Method 1? Okay. And then on the next one, we'll do method 2. So tell me about the slope. M was, we said move A. So you can think about the steps, right? Move A and divide by B. So what is A here? A is 2, and we need to change it. So what are we going to write? Negative 2 over what's B? 3. There's my slope. So then let's talk about these x and y intercepts. So I want you to remember, and a y-intercept is our b. And I want you to write this. I want you to write 0 space. And I want you to notice the x is 0. So let me ask you, if I put a 0 in place of x, like this, tell me about 2 times 0. It's just 0. So do we really need it? No. Could I just take and I can like cover it up and make it disappear because it's not really there? What do I do for 3y equals 6? How do I solve that? We're going to divide by 3. What's y? Y is 2. So my y-intercept is 2. For the x-intercept, I'm going to write that one up here. What's another word for x-intercept? 0. Very good. So now we're going to write space, and where our y is 0. So if I'm going to plug in 0 for y, what happens with 3 times 0? It's not there. Let me just cover it up. Let's pretend it's not there. How do I solve 2x equals 6? We divide by 2. What is x? X is 3. So that is my x-intercept. So if I was to draw a picture of this, we have a little bit of space to draw a picture. Let me come over here and we'll draw a picture right here. So what do I know? I know I have 1, 2, 3. Here's my x-intercept. I have 1, 2, that's my y-intercept. And if I draw my line, oh, look at my slope. It's negative. And look, I went down 2 and over 3. Was that my slope? It was. So you can very well draw the picture. We call this the cover-up method, where you cover up the x or you cover up the y to find the value. If you like that method, by all means use it. Let's try the other method here. What's missing though? What do I need with my y? What's that invisible number? 1. All right, so if we do this the old way, right? We move our x. How do I move my x? We're going to subtract it. Can I put a 9 with a 3x? No. What am I bringing down? Be careful. Negative 1y. Don't forget the negative. And then our second step said divide by the number in front of y. What's the number in front of y? Negative 1. So y equals, what's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. What's a positive divided by a negative? A negative. Well, looking at this method, do we already know the slope and the y-intercept? Is this our m? Is this our b? Yes. So each method has its own benefits. Now, for the 0, for the x-intercept, we still have to do that cover up, okay? That's unless you're just going to graph it and look at your calculator, which you can also do. We're going to put 0 in for y. So I'm going to cover up my y. You can use your finger, or you can rewrite it either way. 3x equals 9. What do I do? Divide by 3. X equals 3. And now you have all your pieces. So you could draw a picture for that one if you liked as well. Do we have space to draw a picture somewhere? Maybe over here? Wherever you have space. So what does this look like? Well, on my x, I'm at 3. On my y, I'm way down here at 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I could, right, up 9, over 3. 9 over 3 is 3. There's my slope. So you can draw your picture either way. So word problems are going to be very much real life word problems for standard form. So if we go to the supermarket and we buy apples, apples are 50 cents. Those are the cheap apples, right? And grapefruits are $2, and we're going to spend $15. So this is very real life. If we go to the store and we buy these things, they're going to add up how much each one costs, right? And we've got our total. It tells us X is apples. So if I go back up to where it says apples, I'm going to put my X. And what about grapefruits? What is grapefruits? What does it tell us to use? It tells us to use Y. So I'm going to label those. So if we went to the store and we bought apples, we bought 50 cents for each apple, and we bought $2 for each grapefruit, and we spent $15. We need to find our intercepts. What method would you like to use? Do you want to use the cover-up method, or do you want to go ahead and change it all to y equals? Well, it's entirely up to you. Remember that y-intercept is where x is 0. And x-intercept, what's another word for x-intercept? 0. Make sure you know that. So, do you just want to cover up on this one? Do you think that would be easier? If we're going to cover up on the y-intercept, look, on the y-intercept, x is 0, right? So, let's cover up the x. What do we end up with when we cover up the x? Oh, it didn't work. It didn't cover it up. Let me try that again. What do we get if we cover up the x? 2y equals 15. So, if I write 2y equals 15, how do I solve for y? Divide by 2. Use your calculator. Y equals 7.5. What is y representing? Apples or grapefruits? So this means, well, actually, we'll talk about what it means in a minute. Let's look at our x-intercept. Our x-intercept means we're covering up our y. So if I cover up my y and I have 0.50x equals 15, how do I get x by itself? What do? We're multiplying, so instead we're gonna divide. Don't try to do this in your head. Use your calculator. X equals 30. So let's talk about what this means. So let's draw a picture of this so we can see what it means, okay? I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to do only my quadrant one. And it told us X was apples, so I'm going to label this apples. And Y is grapefruit. Because I want you to see visually what that means. So we were at, on the grapefruit, 0, 7.5. And on the apples, we were way over here at 30. So I want you to think about what these numbers mean. So if I'm at 0, 7.5, that means that I have bought how many apples? How many apples? What was my X? So I've bought 0 apples and 7.5 grapefruit. I'm gonna write GF because I don't like to write words out. So what does it mean on this 30? What does this coordinate be for the x-intercept? X was what? X is apples, so 30 apples, 0 grapefruit. If it helps you when you look at that coordinate, you can just put the labels there, right? We had apples, we had grapefruit, we had apples, we had grapefruit. So you can see the numbers that match with the labels. Last two, okay? Change to standard form, okay? So standard form is ax plus by equals c. Remember how we started this at the very beginning? We said x and y are on the same side. No fractions. So look at this. How do I move my x to the same side as the y? We're going to do the opposite. It's a plus 3x, so we're going to minus 3x. I have negative 3x plus y equals, don't forget the negative on the 4. Is my x and my y on the same side? Yes. Do I have any fractions or decimals? No. Hey, guess what? We're done. I'm actually going to change up this one so that you have a context. Do you see how there's a minus right there? I want you to make that not a minus. I want you to make it a 1/2. I promise there's a reason. How would we normally solve this kind of problem? When you see those parentheses, what's the first thing you want to do? Distribute, multiply. Okay, let's do that. You guys are super great at this. Y minus 4 equals 1/2 x. What's half of 6? Plus 3. And then what do we normally do? Move the 4. How are we going to move the 4? We're going to add it. So this would be great if it asked us about slope and y-intercept. It doesn't, but that's okay. We're going to write 1/2 x. What do we get? 3 and 4 is plus 7. So if I asked you about the slope, you would tell me it was 1/2. If I asked you about the y-intercept, you would tell me 7. Okay, but that's not what we want to do. We want standard form. So remember, that means x and y on the same side. How do I get my x and y on the same side? Subtract my x. Okay. And I can't put my x and y together, right? I've run out of space. We're not actually going to do this graph one, so if you need to move down, that's fine. So I have negative 1/2 x plus y. You can put a 1 in front of there if you want, equals 7. Okay, so here's the only part. No fractions or decimals. Oh no, I have a fraction. Nope, that's still a decimal. Making it 0.5 is still a decimal. Here's what I want you to think about. This fraction If I broke the class into halves, how many groups do I have? Two. So I am really, this means that I am dividing by 2, does it not? What is the opposite of dividing by 2? Multiplying by 2. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to multiply this whole equation by 2. So when you put in your calculator 2 times negative 1/2, what do we get? We should get negative 1. Don't forget the x. But I'm not going to stop with the x. I got to distribute on everything, because if I do this to one part, I do it to all of them. What is 2 times 1y? Times 2y. And then I got to do this on the 7 also. Equals 2 times 7 is 14. Now I'm done. So here's the thing. To get rid of your fraction or your decimal, you are going to multiply everything, right? When we do this, it's like everything is involved by your denominator. And it doesn't matter if your denominator is 6, it doesn't matter if it's 11, whatever your denominator is, you have to multiply the whole equation by that, and that's going to make, poof, the fraction go away.